Scott Lasky gets to the bottom of the battle over the face in the window.
It's the night of February 8th, 1992. A family sits in the living room of their home just outside of Norwood, Missouri. Dad runs the home video camera. Mom, the kids, and some friends settle in to watch wrestling on TV. Keep your eye on the window. It was just another home video, meant for family and friends only, if not for the window. Keep watching. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See it? Then watch again as we play it in slow motion. There it is. Something that would change this family forever. Something that 5 years later has become the most annoying, debated, contested video UFO believers have ever dealt with, because it is said to be the face of an alien. Sure, it's a strange face, dismissed as an animal, an owl, more likely a prankster in a Halloween mask. But it still shows up at almost every UFO convention, where it is debated again, debunked again, and defended again, even though it is so obviously fake. That is, until you hear the story behind the video, the story of what happened to the family, and until you talk to this man. John Carpenter is a psychiatric social worker and one of America's best-known UFO experts. He looks at the face in the window, and he sees, well, he remains open-minded.
I've been more impressed as time passes that it remains completely unexplained and completely weird.
Although he refuses to declare the face in the window an alien visitor, Carpenter is convinced the video is not a deliberate hoax. After thoroughly investigating the case, he points to disturbing circumstances and events that occurred on the night of February 8th, 1992, that lead him to believe this image on the videotape may in fact be an alien.
And we have here the glowing part. We have what do you think like a glowing wrench.
What do you think the glowing part is?
I have no idea. Someone has suggested a mouthpiece.
Is there anything at all visually that you can see that indicates to you this is an actual alien?
Only that it does not look like anything human or animal, and any expert or other person that's looked at this cannot identify anything either. After years, it still can't be identified.
First of all, the Davis family, who shot the video, never capitalized on the tape in any way, and in fact tried to hide it for fear of embarrassment.
If the family was creating it all on their own, then why haven't they wanted publicity? Why haven't they wanted to be on national TV? Why haven't they wanted to make money on it or cash in on it in some way?
Then there is the evidence of numerous UFO sightings in the Norwood, Missouri area around the time the video was shot.
We were having a huge wave of sightings, animal mutilations, and other bizarre occurrences in this area. We had at least 100 different reports in a 3-month period.
Also, the weather that night and the presence of the family Rottweiler in the yard, more than enough to discourage an intruding prankster.
In terms of a hoax, who would be out in the yard with a killer Rottweiler in 20-degree weather in the middle of nowhere to play a prank?
There's the reaction, or lack of it, from the family in the room at the time the face appears in the window.
No one seems to notice, and the camera just keeps looking at all sorts of different things in the room nonchalantly and never seems to even have noticed this image at all.
But what about the convenient framing of the picture, giving a clear view of the window in which the face would appear?
Of course, the question came up, why is it so centered? But if you watch the other 2 hours of the video, you find that the camera has been resting on his shoulder quite often while he's watching the TV.
Could it have been a dog or other animal?
We looked at the possibility of animals, a dog, an owl, anything that might stick its head in the window. And no dog could even get his nose above the windowsill, so that didn't work.
John Carpenter says his work continues.
We're still investigating the image, trying to use high-tech equipment or whatever we can to further bring out detail, if and when that's ever possible. I think that's the only way to absolutely prove what it is or is not.
Still, it's been 5 years, and to many serious believers in UFOs, this is a downright embarrassment. It's time to get to the bottom of this once and for all, So Strange Universe launched its own investigation. I went to the scene, Norwood, Missouri, to find that family, to get them to come clean about the face in the window.
We'll travel with Scott, and you'll see what he found when we come back.
Your brother and your sister-in-law believe this entire space here is basically a UFO landing site?
Yes. There was a different type curtain at that time, but it come up right here. The couch was sitting right here in front of the window.
And later,
I can't say I saw a winged creature, but it was a creature of some kind.
Tomorrow on Strange Universe, Charlotte King gets a pain every time there's going to be an earthquake or volcanic eruption. Her mysterious power has baffled the experts, and she's not the only one. The real-life phenomenon.
you've seen the face in the window. Whether it was an alien visitor or a prankster may only be known to the ones who shot the video. Our correspondent Scott Lasky went to Missouri to find them.
It's 10:30 a.m. as we arrive in rural Norwood, Missouri, looking for evidence that might finally solve the 5-year mystery of that face in the window. Strangely, while the rest of the world still buzzes about this baffling tape, the good folk of Norwood had either forgotten about it or never even heard about it in the first place.
I myself personally have not.
Haven't heard of anything like that around here.
Haven't heard anything like that?
Nope, sure haven't.
Okay, that's really strange.
But then we find one man who knows a lot, Lawrence Davis, the brother of the man who shot this infamous home video.
This is the only thing I've ever seen in my whole life that I can't explain.
Lawrence says his brother, wife, and children have long since moved out of the home with the face in the window because they were frightened by the tape and its mysterious implications. But Lawrence agrees to help us in our investigation. He claims he's just as anxious as the UFO experts to solve the face in the window mystery. Later, he would lead us to the house where it all happened, tell us about possible government intervention, and even show us a place he thought could be a UFO base. First stop is this sinkhole. It's roughly 300 yards from the house where the face appeared in the window. Lawrence says he came here shortly after the video was shot.
We come down here looking for scorched grass and what have you, but we found none. We did find marsh grass.
Lawrence says his sister-in-law found even more, that she told him she actually saw a UFO take off from this very spot.
It just raised straight up in the air and then shot off at a high rate of speed. But when it was raising, it raised slow and it was putting off a blue light. But it did not look like a traditional flying saucer is supposed to look.
Lawrence tells us what his family believes was the source of the face in the window.
But they think possibly there was some sort of craft in this hole, and that is where this stranger in the window come from, that they basically parked here and they walked up to the house and was looking around.
Were there still trees here? I mean, if there were still trees here, wouldn't that lead you to believe that nothing actually landed here? Because if something did land here, the trees would have been knocked down.
That's true. That's true.
Even so, we retrace the steps an alien visitor would have taken to the Davis family home. We look through the living room window, just like that face did, and then we knock on the door.
How you doing, sir?
Glenn and Barbara Barnes live in the house now. They invite us in, and we show them what happened at their house 5 years ago. They allow us to look around and investigate, but they can tell us nothing, and we can find nothing to add to what is already known about that face in the window.
There was a different type curtain at that time, but it come up right here. The couch was sitting right here in front of the window.
That's where Lawrence Davis comes in. He tells us we are not the first men in suits to walk up here looking for information. When his brother's family still lived here,
2 Caucasian males in dark suits approached. They come to my brother and his wife's house and told them that you need to leave well enough alone, that you don't know what you have here, that a lot of people think you're crazy, a lot of people think you're a liar.
according to Lawrence, The men never identified themselves, but allegedly made an ominous reference to the death of the family's Rottweiler shortly after the face appeared in the window. He says they gave his brother a warning.
You need to leave it alone, and if you don't, things could get hurt more than the dog.
Lawrence Davis tells us this mysterious visit by two strange men could hold the key to what that face in the window is all about.
If the government or whoever thought that this was a hoax or some kind of game, these men in the dark suits would not be taking any interest in it.
Lawrence also connects the incident with an earlier phone call he had made to the FBI.
They basically just acted like I was a nut.
It's information that intrigues UFO expert John Carpenter.
They may have laughed over the phone, but there's no doubt that they may have taken an interest in what actually occurred.
The skies, the sinkhole, the house, the face in the window. Still a mystery 5 years later. And the truth, still waiting to be found.
You never know. The bizarre ritual of henna comes to America, and it's not hair coloring. That's next. And Captain Kirk's real-life mystical encounter.